Hello internet, welcome to this maiden video of this brand new YouTube channel. Please consider subscribing, liking this video, and let's have a constructive interaction down in the comment section. Now, I am tempted to ask this question, and let me ask, when or have you ever been part of a maiden video, the first ever video of a YouTube channel? I bet not. This is an opportunity, this is a chance, a privilege for you and I to be part of this new story as we begin to write it together. Welcome. Now, so we started this YouTube channel, and the goal being this channel is fully dedicated to just one singular cause: telling the story of Africa truly, realistically, and raw, by Africa, for Africa, and to the world. This has been a movement in the recent past, and it is a noble cause. It is a noble movement that is worth joining, and that is why this channel is also joining part of this revolution, of this movement of fighting misinformation, retelling the story in the truthful manner of how, who, and what is Africa in the eyes that are humane, without giving misconception, wrong picture of this beautiful continent, the cradle of mankind, the beginning of life, of humanhood. So welcome. I hope we shall enjoy this journey together. So this is how we're going to start this channel, and I'm excited. Picture this. Imagine this. You move to a new country, maybe for work, or maybe a vacation. And you move to this new country, and you only realize this as soon as you get to the port, to the airport, or even to the seaport maybe. This is a beautiful country. The people, the values and the culture of those people, even the weather is beautiful, is incredibly beautiful. And just one thought lingers in your mind: you can't fight the urge of staying in that place, in that country, for the rest. Listen, get it, for the rest of your life. So recently, downtown Nairobi, actually in the suburbs of Nairobi, I was privileged to be part of one great function that like opened my eyes. And see, when sometimes you think you know something by maybe having read it or being told by someone, until you really get the first-hand experience of that thing, and you just begin to see it in another whole dimension. It really now makes sense, practically, not theoretically, but practically. So I attended this an event in the suburbs of Nairobi. So this event was planned in I think in partnership with many other partners by a family, an African American family that moved to Kenya a few years ago and have come to settle here. They have come to love the country, to love the city of Nairobi, to love the people and everything in this country. And now, with a couple of other partners, decide to host fellow African Americans to tell them about the secret discovery they made about this country, this continent. I had a friend of mine who was in Kenya for a visit for an African American, and I tagged along, and I'll tell you, I discovered so much. I came to a realization that I might have thought I know things, but there's a lot out there. So I saw it in people's eyes. I felt it when they talked. How legit is that feeling that these people have? It was an event that had like 20 or so people, all of them being African Americans of different ages. Some had been in a country for a few days, some had been there for a few months, some had been there for years, and some have actually permanently relocated to different parts of Kenya, mostly Nairobi and Mombasa, the two biggest cities in the country. And when I finally had these people talk about their life in America, their desire to come back to the motherland and discover their roots, was both heartwarming and heartbreaking in equal measure. I didn't think that finding your identity is such an important thing. I got this video here of a young Barack Obama, talking about going to Africa, his experience and discovering his roots. And it didn't make so much sense to me because you never know how much good that thing that you have until maybe you don't have it, or until you get to experience from the perspective of that person who really needs something that you take for granted every day.
My personal journey to discover very directly who my family was, I think, mirrors a more abstract sense of a lot of African Americans that they need to go back and reclaim their roots. And a further parallel exists because in the same way that I think I had looked at my father as sort of an idealized image, So does the African American community, I think, tend to idealize Africa, look at it through rose-tinted glasses. If it thinks about it at all. Now, part of that is counteracting years of feeling ashamed about Africa. So, going back, I think for me was to embrace at least a partial truth about Africa, which is that there's good in Africa and there's bad in Africa. There's great joy and much to be learned from Africa.
It got me thinking how important the whole issue of identity is important to a human being. So, I mean, it's now common knowledge everywhere that many and very many African Americans are deliberately and intentionally moving back to Africa, and not to visit, but to settle. Check this out.
Yeah.
O'Shea Duke Jackson, your best African country in terms of experience.
Kenya.
Kenya. What do you like about Kenya?
Everything.
Everything.
Kenya is number one.
Okay. Your best country in terms of people.
Terms of people.
Yeah.
Man, I'd have to say Uganda.
Uganda.
Yeah.
Why Uganda?
Man, Ugandans, it's just like it's like a movie. You know what I mean? Like there's never no day is like the same.
No day
you know what I
like
mean? It's excitement every day. It's like a Netflix thing. So
Your best country in terms of tourism in Africa.
I had a really good time in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Yeah, I only stayed on the island, but Nigeria was fantastic. It's a place I could definitely live in for sure.
O'Shea Duke Jackson, thank you very much. I appreciate you, my brother. I know this is not the last time. We will definitely do lots of things together, fellas.
I saw tears flowing out of the eyes of those people. And I knew there was something here that's meant so much to them. So in the function that I attended, we had entertainment. We had an opportunity to talk. We had, the partners that had been arranged to talk to the visitors about, just everything about moving to Kenya, the health system, the banking system, immigration and everything. And then we got to the point of, we got to the phase of socializing with each other. And there's this one particular lady, so we sat in the same table, and a friend of mine, and we began to talk. She was an African American, but had been in Kenya for about 2 years now, 3 years. And this is what was surprising. She told me this. Before moving to Africa, she knew nothing, literally nothing about Africa by herself. But she had this propaganda that that place was so remote, was so backward and primitive. The people there are no basic facilities and this and that, and it's basically a jungle that maybe has some primitive people walking around it. But guess who is now permanently living in Nairobi? Now she tells me that was the story she heard all until a friend of hers moved to Ghana to live in Ghana and sent her videos back in the United States. Then I sent her videos of the kid of he had taken the friend had taken his family in Ghana to I think she talked about an amusement park for the kids, and they went for dinner out there, and they went for shopping at the malls, and they had fun. And she told me, and I was like, so they have amusement parks, so they have shopping malls. And you could imagine my own, amusement at that. Oh. So they think we don't shop, we don't, It's funny. It's both funny and it's sad as well. If someone can paint another human being deliberately, for whatever reason, so wrongly, and now she moved. She's living in Kenya, in Nairobi, with her family and her young family actually. And she told me for her and her family, they are at home. I felt the pain of those people, the Black Americans, talk about, the pain of being a minority. And I know that the tears they were shedding were legit. And when I went home, that event couldn't leave my mind. I even went to the internet. I was just checking out randomly what it takes, what factors are there to consider, especially now for the African Americans, before choosing what African country to move to. This is inevitable. It is an inevitable movement. It is about time we made peace, that African Americans were always going forward, always be trying to move back to Africa to find their roots, and because Africa is just the most beautiful place.
Africans do not like Black Americans. So this is a fact.
No, it's an opinion, and a very asinine one at that. Because Africa is a continent with 54 countries and over 1.2 billion people. A statement such as Africans don't like African Americans is a very ludicrous statement, because one, is perpetuating this narrative that there is beef and animosity between Africans and African Americans. And two, what that is doing is it's generalizing an entire continent based off of the actions of a couple of African hairdressers who live in America. And this is coming from someone who has traveled to 4 out of 54 of the African countries. Okay, so I went to Tanzania and I was treated like royalty. People were bowing at my feet. I felt like I was some type of long lost queen who had finally returned to the land. Let's talk about Ghana. Ghana was one of the most beautiful countries that I ever visited. I had a family who opened up their home to me. They were feeding me 3 times a day. We were living by the beach. They were doing so much to just make me feel welcomed and loved. So this is for all of my African American people. Go to Africa. Go to the different countries that are there. Learn some of the languages, learn some of the cultures there, because this is the thing. There are more similarities than differences between Africans and African Americans. And we need to kill this narrative. We need to break the plane and start the conversation so that we can get to know each other and enjoy the beautiful continent that we call the motherland, Africa, Azania. Okay? Peace and blessings, y'all.
I went to the internet and I actually made a list. I know for me that list won't probably really, uh, uh, be of the biggest benefit, but you know, um, I don't know. Whatever happens, because Africa is also a continent of many countries. So maybe I might even move across the border to a neighboring African country. But Africa is just simply Africa. I have been to, across the borders to a neighboring African country. And I mean, when you're there, you never get to feel the difference of being I am a Kenyan, and I stayed in Kampala, Uganda for some time, and basically, you're just really feeling at home. I came up with a list. I even came up with 10 factors an African American would want to consider before choosing an African country of choice. Because for me, I'd say it's just down to preferences, or, when it comes to countries, because Africa is just Africa, and Africa is so beautiful. Whatever you'd find in West Africa, you probably find the same thing, maybe with a different name, in South Africa, in East Africa, in North Africa, and in Central Africa. What are some of the things in my list that I came across, or I did just an overall, just a rough list of the things, basic things to consider. Of course, there's cultural compatibility, and most importantly, there is, the legal requirements. And with that, I know the role that the partners in that function were playing, because there is a lot. It's not easy, but it is very, very, very possible. There is safety and security, and this is one of those factors that has been used to paint the wrong picture of Africa, and making Africa look like it's a most dangerous place. It is a time bomb. It is a volcano that's about to erupt at any moment. It is volatile. But that is not the truth. The rate of homicide in Kenya in 2023 versus the rate of homicide in the United States of America in the same year are the same. But one is a third world country, the other one is first world country. One allows kids to go to school with guns, while the other one, the dangerous one, knows that it is not right to have guns at anyone's disposal, because it is a threat to everybody. But guess what is being taught? Safety and security will apply anywhere. Maybe the least in Africa, where they think, or they try to make you think that it applies the most. Another factor I came across with, and I think it is important, is job opportunities and business. You might want to come to Kenya, and with those, with the perspective of the West, you would stand a very good chance in doing business in Kenya, in Africa. You know something about business, when you move to a different city or a different country, you always are going to see opportunities that locals just overlook. You might also want to consider the quality of life. In Africa, really, we don't chest to thumb. We don't beat our chest. We're the best. But I mean, it's not a life and death situation. People in Africa are so happy. People in Africa, I mean, despite the many challenges that I think are just about everywhere, Africa is a land of infinite opportunities. Another one could be another factor could be social integration. Then we have climate and environment, which I think arguably Africa has the best climate ever. Another one could be, economic stability of a given country, because Africa is also a huge landmass with many different countries, and every country, I mean, it's not the same as the other exactly when it comes to the economies and economic stabilities. Education and healthcare, because it's basic even in your country of origin, in whichever country you're also going to, they are the things you're going to need. But in Africa, we are in Nairobi, you still get, the best quality of education you would wish, as long as you're in position to have it, as the one you would have in America. This is a global village. People are doing their degrees in American universities, but staying in Africa, in Nairobi, Kenya. And a person is in the United States of America, but they're doing their degree from a Kenyan university. And the 10th one is support network. You need this. You inevitably need this. I had to actually come to write some notes about this. You need to consider establishing a support network of, local contacts, it's expatriate communities, embassies and consulates, and just have, be connected, cultural organizations, professional networks. You're coming from your country of origin, but with a skill, and these will assist you integrate fast. This will assist you get any help you need, and it will get you along. And these do not actually just apply to Africa. Even if I decided to move to America, the same things are part of what I'm going to have to take care of. So, one, I have always had an idea of retelling this African story, but I got the last push, the punch that got this idea through here on your screen. From that event, I learned so much. I witnessed so much. I met beautiful people, and I think it changed my life completely. So, this is a maiden video of this channel. We are going to do so many things about Africa, for Africa, and selling Africa to the world. Now, I challenge you to do one thing. Get some information about Africa, about any country around in Africa. And do this. Just start by paying a visit. I'll say, because I'm Kenyan. And we Kenyans joke that this is the capital of Africa. visit Nairobi and everything. And I mean, it will be upon you to decide what to do from there. But I bet you can never be disappointed. So, check this out.
After visiting every country in Africa, here are my 5 favorites. Number 5, Ethiopia. The coffee culture is unlike anywhere else. They serve it in tiny cups because it is so strong. Number 4, Algeria. The first thing that comes to mind is Jamila, the ancient Roman city that was built thousands of years ago. Number 3, Kenya. It's home to the best safaris in the world with 24 national parks. My favorites are Amboseli and Masai Mara, where you can see the great wildebeest migration. Number 2, Somalia. Many people are scared to visit, but I absolutely love it. You can check out the ancient Las Gael rock art, hang out at the Berber beaches, or explore the camel markets of Hargeisa. Number 1, South Africa. Johannesburg does have a reputation for being dangerous, but I love the vibe over there. Plus, Kruger National Park in the north is my favorite national park in Africa. What's your favorite African country?
So once again, welcome to this new platform. Welcome to this new channel. Please consider being part of this community. Subscribe down below. Like. Let's interact in the comment section. And consider being notified whenever we release beautiful content about beautiful Africa. Next time, we're going to end this maiden video here. We have a lot to talk about. We will be doing this eventually as we move, as we grow together. So please be part of the team, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.